All right, all right. We are now live. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, people who are joining the session. Welcome, welcome. This is one of the sessions from W Beginner that we're doing to help you guys set up your website and basically maintain your website. This is designed absolutely for beginners. So if you have no experience with WordPress, this will be a wonderful, wonderful session. Which will teach you a lot on how to set up your website. So let me start the live session. I'm going to keep switching between my screen and the camera. So just pay attention to the screen. So let's start with that. And I hope now you can see my screen now. And this is the topic of today, how to properly set up your WordPress website. Exciting topic. And I remember being a beginner in WordPress and a lot of things I'm going to cover, I had to discover myself and it took, let's say, months and years. And I made many mistakes, which caused my website to have lots of problems and which I'll be talking about. So you'll get the positive upsides of properly able to set up your website and also will avoid the downsides of not having the knowledge to properly set up websites. All right, so a little bit about me. Who am I? So my name is Yuvraj, Yuvraj Vadvani. You can call it the way to pronounce it is Yuvraj. So if you're not from India, this is how you pronounce the name. I'm a content creator for W Beginner. If you've been watching our channel for some time, you've probably seen me on the channel making videos about WordPress and all sorts of things. So that is the most important, or that's what I do at W Beginner. And we create a lot of content. And this live stream is all about website setup, as I already mentioned. So the first important question that I would think about when we are setting a website, that what's the important part? Why do we have to have a proper setup, right? If you install WordPress on a hosting provider, isn't it already set up? Well, kind of, yes, but there are a lot of things that we can improve and avoid mistakes if we set up our website correctly. And the one thing to remember is that if your website is not set up correctly, then it can lead to poor performance. That means your website might not perform well, might be very slow, the functionality might be broken, and it might be leaking. And the leaking is term where, let's say, if you're setting a website for a business goal, then you might be not be able to collect a lot of leads or not be able to generate enough business, which you can through the website. And you can also have an unsecure website or insecure website. So unsecure website, that means that it's open to hackers. There are a lot of vulnerabilities that malicious users or hackers can take advantage of and cause issues on your website. So we'll avoid all this trouble by properly setting up a website. And in the workshop, I'll be covering a lot of different things. So let me just first run it down. What are we going to learn? So in this workshop, I'll outline the essential steps you need to take to set up your website and maintain it. Both are important because we'll set up, but there are some regular things that you need to keep doing on your website to maintain it. It's like a car. When you purchase a car, you take it to the shop, have it set up perfectly. That's the first initial setup. And then after that, you have to regularly maintain your car as well. If you don't maintain, the likelihood of the car breaking down or causing problems and it being a lot more expensive than it has to be can also be the probability is higher. So if you maintain your website, then it will be much better or much better for your website. All right. So we'll be covering a lot of different. I'll be covering a lot of different things that you need to do, but it'll be divided into four essential areas. The first area is the essential settings on your WordPress website. This is important. Beginners might, as a beginner or beginner in WordPress, you might not be aware of that. Hey, these are the things that we need to set up, or these are the things important settings, and why they are important. So I'll be covering that. Then I'll cover about the website setup. So some cosmetic things on your website and how to set up essential things to increase the likelihood that you achieve the end goal that you are trying to achieve with your website. Next thing I'll talk about essential plugins. There are a lot of different plugins on the market, and you might not be aware what plugins do, what plugins to use, what to actually do with it. So I'll cover that as well. That hey, these are the essential plugins that you should install, and what do these plugins do? And then what are the maintenance activities that you should be performing regularly on your website to maintain your website health and smooth functioning of your website. So that's the four steps, and I'll be taking them step by step, one step at a time. And it's not just a slideshow. I'm going to take you to my website and actually show you the essential settings and how to do it. And this video is being done on YouTube Live, so this will be available on YouTube after the stream is done. So if you, let's say, have to attend something important and you might not be able to watch the full stream, it will be available on YouTube for you to watch later. So don't worry if you're not able to attend the full stream. And the comment section is also open here. So if you are joining the stream, I've seen some people have joined. So if you're here, then all you have to do is you can leave a comment, say hi, and you can keep asking your questions here in the comment section as well. So that's also something you can do. All right. And let's get started with the first important setting, which is the first step of this website maintenance, which is core WordPress settings. Now, when you start building a website or you build a website, many people don't realize that, hey, they have the certain settings that some hosts either do not configure by default, or there's some settings that you might not be aware of that these exist. And some settings are configured as part of your configuration or how you set up your website. And then for a website that has to go live and is presentable to end users and viewers, you need to ensure that all the settings I'm going to mention have to be done correctly so that it gives off the right impression, and also if it functions the way it's supposed to. All right, so let's go into the essential settings. What are essential settings? The essential settings are the site title, tagline, time zone, registration settings, and there's some other settings as well. So what I'll do is I'll quickly go to my website that I've prepared as a demonstration here. So I'll switch to my camera for a second and I'll go to my website and I'll switch back to my screen share now. And now you'll be able to see all the things here. And the way I've set this up is a blank website. I haven't done anything on it. So everything that I'll be doing on the website is something you will also be able to replicate. You'll be able to see, and it'll be very simple. And everything I do, I'll try to be very specific on the screen. I have a software setup so I can actually drag and create arrows like this. So everything, every setting, every place I'm going to go into, I'm going to give you a specific or annotate on the screen that, hey, this is where you need to go. And I also have a setup where I can zoom into the screen. So you'll be able to see that, hey, exactly what I'm doing. So when it comes to WordPress settings, you might be aware of that. Hey, WordPress, this is the WordPress menu, and there's some settings you see. The more important or the most important settings are inside the settings menu of WordPress. Not a surprise, the settings menu. Where's the settings menu? If you see here, the settings menu is here. So you see the settings menu, and inside the settings menu, there are many sub settings or subcategories. So what are the subcategories? Let's look at them, and I'll tell you about what settings we need to configure. So if you go to settings, we have general settings, we have writing settings, we have reading settings, discussion, media, permalinks, privacy, and some caching settings. This is because of a plugin, and I'll talk about plugins, of course, in this session. So we'll start with the general settings. Not every setting has to be configured. Not every setting needs, or you don't need to go to every single category and change things. So I'll start with the general settings first. So inside the general settings, you'll see a lot of different settings. So I'll cover the most important settings and what we need to configure. The first important setting is the site title. This is this, you see site title. This is the site title. And the site title is very important for two reasons. First of all, site title is displayed to the users who access your site. And it's also important for SEO purposes. So it's also important for both reasons. So what does this do? How do we configure it? So first of all, of course, you can just go here and change it. So you see here, this is brand new website right now. You see it here, but if we go and actually check out the site, it's also displayed on the title. So if I hover over here, you might be able to see the screen. It says brand new website. And I'll try and zoom in on the screen. Brand new website. This is the site title. So on mobile, this is even more prominent because that's the most prominent section that users see. So if your website just says my website or John's website or Yuvraj's website, it's not very descriptive of what the website is supposed to be. And it's not good for SEO because Google takes this information and understands, hey, this is what your website is about. Think of it as a title for book. If the title is like, hey, this is book, it doesn't make sense. It has to be descriptive for both reasons, for the users and also for SEO. So make sure to change it to something important that you like. And I'll give you a simple example. If you go to wbeginner.com, which is the website we have or our website, you'll see the site title is WBeginner, Beginner's Guide for WordPress. Beginner's Guide for WordPress. If I zoom in, it's cropped a little, but that's what it says. W beginner, beginner's guide for WordPress. So that's how descriptive it is. It's W beginner. The brand name is also here, and then beginner's guide to WordPress, which is the description, and also it includes the essential keywords. It's a beginner's guide for WordPress. So any person searching for, hey, I need help with WordPress, at least Google has the right signals to understand that yes, this is the right website we should send people to for WordPress help. So the ideal format you can use is the brand name. So brand name and 3 to 5 words, I'd say, is ideal of what your website does. So it can be like Yuvraj's website. This can be my brand, or you could say brand uh, roofing services. Example, if you have a roofing business or roofing business or roofing services, let's say in Texas, something like this. This is a way to describe what you do and also include your brand name in the title. This is very important for, as I said, for user perception and also for SEO. I'm going to switch back to just Yuvraj's website just to keep it simple. Otherwise, people might join the stream and think, hey, what are we learning here? Okay, so Yuvraj's website. The next option is a tagline, and tagline is not visible to the public usually at very little areas, or it's used in very little areas. So right now it's blank, and I think the default option with most hosts is also blank. You can add something here, but it's completely okay if you keep it blank. Most of the time you'll see it somewhere here or somewhere inside the admin area, but you can add something like the site icon is a favicon. I'll talk about this in maybe next section. And you don't have to upload it from here. There's some other areas as well that you can learn this. Then you have the website URL, which we can't change. This is the website URL. Then you have the admin address. This is blurred out. I've just blurred it out. This is where you'll see your email address when you set up your WordPress website. That, hey, this is what my website is about, or this is my email address that I use. Then the next setting is very, very important. You can see here the membership section. This is very important to understand and then set up correctly as well. What does this mean? So if you're aware that, hey, let's say if you want to discuss something on a forum, you go to the forum, you sign in, and then now you can contribute to the forum, right? You can talk about it. And there were some certain websites that allow you to just log in and submit content. So these are websites that support the functionality of that users can actually register on your site. So this is a functionality that is native to WordPress, but you have to understand if you need to enable it. And by default, it is disabled for most hosting providers and when they set up. So what does this mean? That means if you enable this option, that means any person who comes to your website can have the ability to register on your site. And then what can they do after you register or after they register is determined by the next setting, which is new default user roles. So default role is a subscriber. So if somebody subscribes to your website or they register on your website, they'll be a subscriber of your content. So they might be able to see your feeds and consume content, but there's some other roles you can assign people. So a use case for this feature to be enabled would be, hey, you allow end users to contribute content to your site. Or if you have a forum setup, then you want people to be able to contribute. Or if you, let's say, have a multi-person website and you have a writer writing some content or a website maintenance agency maintaining your website, then they might have different roles here. So if you see here, there are a lot of different roles you'll see. There's shop worker, this is with WooCommerce, then you have customer, and then you have subscriber, contributor, author, editor, administrator. Now, you might see different things here because I have a couple of plugins installed as a test. So if let's say you didn't have WooCommerce, you might not see customer or might not see shop manager. And as a default, you might just see these here on the bottom. Now, important thing to realize is that after or above subscriber, as you give rights here, it gives more control to people on your website. So instead of getting into the details of what each of these settings do or each of these roles do, it's important to understand that once someone is a subscriber, they can only consume the content. But once someone is a contributor, author, and editor, they can make changes to your website. They can submit content, they can edit content, and administrator is as good as giving them the entire control of your website. So you are the administrator of your website. So if you want someone to have the same access as you, let's say a partner, a business partner, or a spouse, then they can be an administrator. Otherwise, please don't give anyone else the administrator control unless you know what they're doing, unless it's a, let's say an agency working for you, a company helping with you or helping you with website maintenance. It's not recommended. Now, if you plan to work on your website completely alone, single-handedly, the easiest thing to do is just disable this option. So you don't have to worry, hey, what am I need to do? And it's completely all right. No need to worry about that at all. All right. So these are the essential settings. And then the next important setting is the time zone. And you can see the time zone right here. This is important. Right now, this time zone says UTC plus zero, which is incorrect for my time zone. I stay in India, so my time zone is actually UTC plus 5:30. So why is this setting important? Because this is basically the time zone of your server, of what your server thinks the right time is. So let's say if I'm in India, right now it's around 6:45 p.m. in India. But if my website thinks or my website server thinks that the time is different, then any kind of scheduled activity I have planned will completely mess up, or the timing of it will completely be wrecked. So let's say if I have a limited time promotion getting live on my website, the time zone will be different and everything will be messed up. And let's say if I have an email blast going out, that will be messed up. If I have scheduled posts that are supposed to go live, that will be messed up. Cron jobs that are running in the background will be messed up. So a lot of things can go wrong if your website time zone is not set correctly. So the easiest thing to do is just go here and go to the right time zone. My time zone is, as I said, UTC plus 5:30. I'll click here and now the time zone should be set correctly, right? And again, you can also change the date and time format, but that doesn't make a difference to the functionality. It's only for, I'd say, whatever is easiest for your audience and for you to understand that, hey, this is what the website is, this is what the website does. So essential settings which you have to configure, again, the site title, and make sure this setting is enabled or disabled depending on how you want to configure your website. Assign the right role, set the site language as well. This is default. I think I skipped over it. WordPress is available in a lot of different languages, and I think English is the default one. But if come here, you'll see WordPress is translated in a lot of different languages. So you can change it, and the entire admin area will also reflect those changes. So that's also something pretty cool that you can use to set up on your website. Then time zone is something that you have to set up. And then date and time format is something that you can leave as it is, or you can choose a different format, which will not affect the functionality of your website, right? Once you make the changes, it's very important to save your changes. So make sure to click this nice blue button here and click Save Changes, and then it'll be nice and updated. All right. That's the first essential step you need to take to manage and customize and essentially maintain your website. Next set of settings are in the reading section. We'll go here in the reading section. So if I zoom in on the screen, this is the reading section that we'll be taking a look at. Going here, I'll go to the reading section. There's some settings in the writing section as well, but they're not critical for your website. These are very important to understand. So next important setting is this one, which is your home page displays. This is very important, very, very important. Let me explain the significance of this. So what this means is there's two settings here. You can see your home page displays. First option is your latest post. The second option is a static page. And right now the option selected is a static page. What is the difference? Let's look at that in a second. So a static page is basically that, uh, well, it's not dynamic. Let me give you an example, a visual way to understand this. So if I go to the website that we have, it's the one I'm using to demonstrate right now. This is the website homepage. And you can see there is content, or the page doesn't have like, hey, these are the latest posts, or this is all the content on the website, or this is what I'm publishing. So this is called a static post where things don't change as you publish content on your site. Now, to contrast, if we go to any magazine type site, let's say a tech magazine, TechCrunch. So if I go to TechCrunch's website, you'll notice that TechCrunch website, there are a lot of elements that keep changing depending on what is being published. So if you open this website, let's say 4 hours from now, you'll see different headlines, you'll see different content here, latest news will be updated. So for most magazine type websites, a dynamic homepage which keeps changing is more useful in general. And for example, if you go to, let's say, search engine general, let me just search for them. Engine journal. Oops, I think I messed up spelling, but it should be fine. Yeah, search engine journal. So if you go to their website as well, you'll see all the time it just shows what is the latest content being published. This is called a dynamic homepage. And if you go back to our website for a second, this is called your latest post in this case. So if I switch to latest post for a second, just for demonstration, if I save my changes, the website will be very different. We'll see here, if we refresh the website, it'll start displaying whatever content we are publishing. And for most websites, it might be, or for magazine type websites where the content is important, it might be the great choice, as you can see here. But let's say you have a business website, you have an end goal, you want to generate some leads and customers through your website. This might not be the best choice. So in that case, we'll choose a static post. And then from the static post, we have to select the page that is the home page. Right now, I'm using the Sydney theme on my website. And the Sydney theme, when I imported it, it created some pages. So we have the front page, which we'll use as a home page. And all the content that's being published on a site will be displayed on the blog page. So these are important. Once again, I'll save my changes and I'll go back here and refresh my website. And now it should be, once the cache is refreshed, it should go back to our initial website. So I'll wait for the cache to be reloaded. And just to give an example, if you go to W Beginner's homepage, let me just open this again. This is also a static homepage. The content here is static. This is also static. There are a couple of things that are dynamic. So the content here is refreshed, but many of the things that you see here, the glossary, quizzes, feature solutions, promise, everything else, that is a static homepage. So for most business websites, most content websites, again, it makes sense to evaluate what kind of solution your website will be better off with. But this is where you have to configure it, and this is where it all makes sense. All right. Rest of the settings, you can say, hey, blog post show 10 posts. This is not very important unless you use the latest post. These will not make a lot of sense. So that is basically something that you should know about when you're setting up your homepage. Now, the next important setting, which can completely wreck your site, is this, and I'll explain what that means, is search engine visibility. So what this means is, many times if you're setting up a website, then the hosting provider might ask you that, hey, are you just currently building your website? Do you want some time to set it up? Do you want to spend some time maintaining it first, then go it live? And you might just say, hey, yeah, I'm just building my website. So what happens in the background, if you select that kind of an option, then what happens is search engines, or not search engines, the hosting provider might just enable this setting, and it's for good reason. Because when you enable this setting, it just says what it, or it does what it says, which is discourage search engines from indexing the site. So basically, it adds a little bit of code to your website, which tells the search engines that, hey, I'm not interested in search engines showing my website to my ideal customers. So don't index the content, which when you're just building your website is good. But then if you completely forget about it, that, hey, this is something that the hosting provider actually configured for me, then it can be disastrous. Because imagine you spend weeks and weeks trying to set up your website, or you spend a month designing the most perfect website, and then you realize that, hey, why I'm not getting any traffic, and you keep publishing content, and you might forget that, hey, this setting was turned on, and that's why search engines are not sending you any traffic. This is very important to understand. And that is why make sure once your website goes live, again, if it is enabled and you're still building your site, it's like looking default, then it is all right to have this enabled. Otherwise, it's very important. Once your website, you are ready for your website to be viewed by the public, then it's very important that you keep this disabled. All right. So these are settings in the reading section. Let's save our changes here so that everything is set up. And the next thing that we'll go into is our discussion settings, also comment sections. It says discussions. I'll hover over it. I'll zoom in on the screen, discussion settings, and let's go inside. And here we'll configure how comments behave, what kind of comments are available, or people can comment, and some other settings related to how comments work on your site. So I'll try to explain the more important settings that you need to configure. There are a lot of settings here. Not every setting needs to be changed. Most of the time, the default setting is all right. The first important setting is this one. I'll try to highlight it on the screen. This one. Allow people to submit comments on new posts. Now, why is this important? Because let's say you write a great blog post and the perfect customer comes to your website and they think, hey, this is the perfect guy or this is the perfect girl who I can want or I want to do business with. And then they realize there's no way to connect. There's no comments, right? So it's a lost business for you. So if you enable this option, which is enabled by default, by the way, then users will be able to leave comments on your site, which is a good thing. So make sure that if you want to accept comments, again, it's completely up to you. If you want to accept comments on your site, this setting is enabled, right? That's the first important thing. Then the other set of settings is these set of settings. So I'll just highlight these set of settings. So these are very, very self-explanatory. So I won't go into a lot of detail in explaining what this is, but let me go here. Comment author must fill out name and email. This is obvious that somebody leaving a comment should be able to leave an email so that you can verify. Otherwise, you might get a lot of spam on your site. The next option is users must be registered and logged into comment. This can be a personal taste. So let's say if you want only registered users on your site to leave comments, then you can enable this. Make sure that in the general settings that user registration is turned on and people have the ability to actually register on your site. And then this is something that I see many websites use for their own reasons. Automatically close comments on old posts after these number of days. So if it's more like a, let's say, a news website where every 15 days now old news is dead, so you don't want people to be able to comment on very, very old posts, then you can use this option. For most blogging websites, people who blog about their business themselves as a hobby, this is something that they usually do not keep enabled. So you can keep this disabled, which is the default setting as well. And then these couple of settings, which is this, these are important. So make sure this is checked where comments, when users leave a comment, there's a kind of a checkbox which says, hey, cookies will be set and everything else. And then you can also enable nested or threaded comments, which means that if people reply, then you can see it in a threaded manner rather than just one after the other. Okay, that's important. And then you can also enable comment pagination. Now, this will not be a problem for you if your website is brand new, unless you're getting lots and lots of comments. But if you enable this, then you can say, hey, how many comments should be loaded on a single page? So let's say if you have 200 comments on a post, the 200 comments will take some time to load. So if users are going to your site, the website's loading time might be a little higher than what is desired. So in that case, you can say, hey, when my website pages load, only the first 10 comments should load, right? Only the first turn, and then users might see the option to click more or load more comments. So it'll preserve some bandwidth and your website will perform better, right? So you can keep this option enabled and you can start, even if let's say you're not getting any comments, you can still enable this and make sure it's 10 comments. So it's just easier for everyone. Then the next option is about notifications for comments. So email me whenever anyone posts a comment or a comment is held for moderation. Now, it sounds great in the beginning, but if your website attracts a lot of customers, a lot of comments, this might be overwhelming. So make sure that you understand that if your website, or if let's say you want to be notified for every single comment, enable this. I usually, whenever I'm building a website, or even for my website, I just keep both of these disabled because I log into my website every alternate day anyways. So that's where I go and check the comments. I don't enable this. Otherwise, I might be flooded with emails all the time. The next option is important. Before a comment appears, comment must be manually approved and comment author must have a previously approved comment. Now, the default setting which you see here in most cases is great because if you enable this option, then every single comment on your site will have to be manually approved, which is kind of a problematic thing, or at least it's a very time consuming thing to do. The second setting, which is also enabled, this is great. So which means that if a new person comments on a site and you like it, you approve it, then any time they come to your website again, they come back to your site and leave a new comment, the new comment will be automatically approved. So it just makes a lot of sense and it keeps it easy for you to just manage your website, or it keeps the maintenance of your website and managing the comments much easier. The next couple of bits are something for advanced users. Unless you're getting a lot of spam on your site, you don't have to worry about it in the beginning. What you can do is these are basically blacklists for comment moderation and disable comments. So let's say if some people, let's say a use case which happened to my website. There's a lot of spam coming to my website, and most of these spam comments had a particular URL that they were trying to add to the comments. So every time I saw that, I had to delete the comment, and then I realized that I can just set this up. So if you go here and then you add either author name, a URL, an email, an IP address, or even if for technical users, a browser agent's user string, then if you add it here, that means in this area, the comment will automatically be sent to moderation queue. So let's say for example, google.com. If somebody mentions google.com or anything like that, you want the comment to be automatically in the moderation queue. So that's, you can set it up here. And if you want the comment to be automatically deleted, then you can set it up here. So this option is for moderation queue. So anytime someone mentions something here, it'll be sent for moderation. And anytime someone mentions something that's here, it'll automatically be deleted. So that's very important setup. In the beginning, it might not be a huge thing, but as your website grows, it might be very important for you to use this. So I use this personally on my website, and it has saved me a lot of time in managing my comments. And over time, the people who spam comments usually disappear because they understand that this website is not accepting that kind of comments. So it can be very easy for you to do that. All right. The next few options are not very important to like for the functionality perspective, but you can show up your gravatar, default icons, everything else that shows up. This is something that's set up. Now, the comment section has been covered. That's what the comment should be like. Let's go to the next important set of settings, which is permalinks. Now, permalinks are important. You can see the permalinks here. I'll try to zoom in on the screen. Let's zoom in on the screen. Permalinks. This is very, very important. It can completely break how your website perform is in search engines. So let's go here and roll it out. Now, many times, if you start building your website today, if you're using a reputed hosted provider and they set up your website correctly, this should not be a problem. But I was testing some things out, and what I realized was that if you set up your website as a default, many times this functionality or it's set up like this. So this is a huge problem. And let me show you how big of a problem it can be. I'll save my changes so I can actually demonstrate to you. So the permalink structure, let me explain what that means is, let's say you send someone a link to something, right? Hey, this is a great YouTube video. This is a great website. So if let's say you send someone a link to a blog post, usually you see that, hey, it's the website name and then a kind of a description of a blog post, that what the blog post is about. That entire section is called the permalink, which is the link to a certain section of the website. But default settings, which is how the backend works, is not a very descriptive way of how links work. Let me demonstrate that. So if we go here on our site, I'll open it up. And let's say if I open this up, how to increase visitors in 2022, right? So if I click on this, and I don't think my cache is cleared, so it should be, oh, okay, it works. So let me go back here and I'll just open the post section here. And I'll open it from here, right? So let's say if I want to open how to start a design business, I'll click view and this will be open in a new tab. Now, the important thing to remember here is the permalink of this page. Now, one thing to remember, if I go back here, the settings for permalinks is plain. This is the setting that can be default on your site, the plain setting. Okay. So if I show it to you here, this is the format. So important thing to remember is the last part. And if I go here, now you see, if I zoom in on the screen, the URL says the website URL and some question mark P equals 944. Now imagine sending this to your friend or seeing this in search engines. You might be thinking, what is this page about, right? So it instantly creates a distrust about what this website is. So that's the first thing. And the second disadvantage is SEO. If users can see this and not understand what this website is about and what this post is about, the search engines also will have the same problem. They might see all the content on site, but think, why is the permalink like this? So permalink is very important as an important signal to search engines on what the post is about. So we should always make sure that the default option should be post name. This is recommended way, post name. And if I just draw a sum like this, and this is the ideal format, the website name here and the actual name of the post being actually shown as the permalink. So let me show you how big of a difference it makes. I'll keep this tab open. I'll save my changes and I'll go back to my all posts section. I'll refresh the page here. And I'll open the same post now in a new tab and we'll compare side by side. So this was the first post with the old URL. You can see this is how it looks like. Equals P equals 944. Looks very weird. But if we go back to the new format that we've just done, now it says website name, how to start a design business. makes a stark difference in understanding, hey, this is what it's about. This is what the post is about. And this happens for users and search engines as well. And if you notice, the setting that we've set up here is the name of the post. So if you notice, if I go here, that is the setting. So this is the name of the post, and that is exactly what it shows up here. Now you have the option to configure this. So let's say a post name is too long. You can change this on a post level, but compared to equals 944, this makes a lot of sense. So that's the permalinks section for you, that you have to configure permalinks. So that's the next step, right? Let's go back to the site. And now we'll go into the next core setting, which is very important for you to understand, which allows you to set up your profile and your other users, or let's say other administrators, other editors profiles. And that is available in the user section. So if I show it to you here, this is the user section, and I'll zoom in on the screen, the user section. If you hover over user section, you'll see all users, add new user profile. Let's go quickly through them, what these mean. So if you go to the all users section, you'll see all the users that are on your website. And most typically, when you start your website, it'll be only you. So then you only see one person. In my case, it's me. And I've blurred out the email. So don't worry, it's not going to look like this on your website. The email is actually going to show up. And you can see the role of here. So if you, let's say, have 4 editors, 2 writers on board, then you might see them here. And also the number of posts that they have created. So if, let's say, you're contributors to your site, you're paying someone to write blog posts, you'll see how many posts are dedicated to them. Now, if you click edit, you can just go to the profile section as well. And you can edit other people's profiles as well, because you being the administrator have that control. So you can edit this. What are the kind of things you can edit? I'll demonstrate. But if you want to add new users, let's say if you want to add, let's say, new administrators on site by yourself, instead of allowing them to register, you sign up someone, you can just click add new user here. So if I hover over it, this is add new user. And the same thing also is here, add new user. So you can click this or you can click this, which will take you to adding new users or creating new users. Both of them completely work fine. Okay, so let me show you the profile settings. So if you are logged in, if you go to the profile section, it's going to show up your profile, of course. But if you hover over any of the users that are here and click edit, then you'll land into their profiles. So I'll go into the profile section and we'll see a bunch of options, which are again, can make your website look professional, can make it easy for you to understand how to use it, and make it simpler to use your website, right? So there's a couple of settings. There's a visual editor. This is not important for, let's say, this is not an essential setting. The one thing that most people don't realize, which is the color scheme, that you can use your website in different color schemes. The default one is the one that you're seeing right now, which is grayish something. This is the default setting, gray and blues. But if I hover over and click over this, you'll see website can be, or WordPress website can have a different set of color themes. So if I change, you'll see some beautiful themes showing up here. And my favorite one is usually the blue one. My old website that I maintained for many, many years, always use this blue option. But you also have coffee, which looks like this. You have ectoplasm, which uses purple, which is my favorite color. Then you have midnight, then you have ocean, and you also have sunrise. All of them look beautiful. I'll switch to ectoplasm for now. This is important. So this is again, this is for you, and this is for all the administrators and editors. So every person who has a profile on your website can configure this for themselves. So if you log in, you'll see a different look. They log in, they'll see a different look. All right. The next key essential settings are the toolbar. Now, this is important to understand. Again, it doesn't break the functionality, but it makes it easy for you to understand. So, show toolbar when viewing site is enabled. Now, again, we are editing our profiles. You can edit this for other administrators or editors as well. What does this mean? So, let's say if you go here on our homepage, you can see the toolbar is also available or viewable here. So if you as an administrator like this is completely fine. You can keep this enabled like this. But let's say you don't want your editors or someone else who's writing on your site to have this toolbar. So you can just disable this for their, not your profile, for their profile. All right. Apart from this, there's a username. So I have blurred this out. So you can't change your username. But if you want to add details about, hey, for example, if you were adding authors to your site and you want to ensure that their profile is completely set up, this is where you set it up. So you can add their first name, last name, nickname, and the nickname also shows up here, by the way. So that's the nickname, and publicly display your name. You can add your email or a bunch of nicknames, and then you have your contact information as well. So if let's say a user says, hey, I want to switch my contact email to something else, you can actually change their email here, and also you can change your own email here. But WordPress will need to verify it once. It'll send you an email. You have to click on it, confirm it, and then the administrator email can be changed. So if you want to change your email as an administrator, you want to change emails for any people who have signed up to your site, or any administrator, editors, or writers, then you can do that here. And you can give, or they have control over that. They can come here and write a biography or like little bit of information about yourself or themselves. So if you have authors who are experts in their fields who are writing content, people won't trust if they don't have a profile picture, or if their entire profile is completely blank, right? You need a person's face to be showing up. And then also, what are they experts at, or something about their qualifications. So that's where you set this up yourself. And you can allow other people who are logged into your site, or are administrators, or have some sort of control your site, to do this themselves. And if you want to change your password or their passwords, you can always set a new password for them. So you can do this manually, and you can allow users can actually change their password themselves. So let's say if you are provided with a default password by your hosting provider when you set it up, and it's something that you want to switch to something else, you can just set a new password, save it, and then you get email confirmation. You have to relog into your site, and this should be done. All right. So this is the most important setting here. And we have covered most of the essential settings. In There's one more thing that you need to enable. It's not something that you can fix from within the website admin area, or might not be something that you might be able to fix on your own, which is having an SSL certificate for your site. Now, to clarify, if you have built a website in the past 1 year, 2 year, and you've used a reputed hosting provider, then it's very likely that they already include an SSL certificate, or they configure it when you set up a website. How do you verify this? Very easy to do. If you go, let's say, to the home page of your website, and you just have to pay attention to the browser bar. I'm using Chrome, so this is how it's done in Google Chrome. Other browsers might have it different. I'll first highlight the area. So if you see here, I'll just draw an arrow towards it. So I'll draw an arrow towards it. This is the thing that you have to understand. So it looks like a kind of a settings icon where you can move things around. But the essential thing you have to realize that what you need to do is click on it, and you'll see this option. Connection is secure, and this is important. If you see this, that means you already have a working SSL. Don't have to worry about it. And you can always click on it and see other details about your website. Certificate is valid. This is important. If you see certificate is valid, website is secure, then SSL is connected. If you see a red icon here, that's unsecure connection or something like that, then you should talk to your hosting provider and say, hey, my SSL is not working, set up. Now, what is an SSL? I'll switch to my webcam for a second. What is an SSL? SSL stands for Secure Socket Layer. Now, you don't have to understand what this means. It just means that whenever somebody is making a connection to your website, let's say they're trying to open your website on their phone or their computer, the connection between their device and your website is secure and encrypted. So this is very important for any kind of financial transaction. So let's say if somebody is signing up to your site, their passwords are traveling from their device to your website. And similar, that happens for credit card numbers or payment information. So if the information is not secure, then it can be intercepted by hackers, and that is a huge security risk. So if you don't have an SSL, most payment providers will not even give you a payment service. They'll say, hey, your website is not secure, because this is a minimum requirement. But as I said, the good news is if you've set up a website in the past couple of years and you use a reputed hosting provider, then this will be set up for you automatically. You don't have to worry about it. And in most cases, I'd say, in most cases, you don't have to pay additional costs for it, because essentially it's a now a free service. They also get paid services on top, but essentially SSL is free for most users who are building a website. All right. So these are the basic first section. If I go back to my slides for a second, we covered a lot of things here. So if I go back to my slides, we covered all these important settings. We covered all these important settings. This is what we covered. And now we are just getting started. There are a few additional things we want to cover. So I'll try to speed it up. These were the first important settings. I'll switch back to my camera for a second. And now the next important thing we have to start working on is setting up essential pages. Now, every website needs some pages. As I said, the home page important. But there's some pages that are required for legal reasons. There's some required for compliance reasons, and there's some website or some pages that should be on the page or on the website for basically business reasons, which makes sense to be on the page. So, what are those kind of pages? Let me just talk about them for a second. Again, this is not an exhaustive list, but these are the essential settings that every website should have. So You have a home page, which I just showed. You also need an about us page. What is an about us page? Let's say if you're trying to do business with someone and you have no idea about, hey, what is this business? I just discovered this on Google. They might just want to know more about you. So now having an about page, you can describe that, hey, this is what we do. We've been doing this for many years and blah, 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 and all that good information, which increases the trust that people will do transactions with you. So having an about us page is important. Then having a products and services page is also important if you sell products or services. If you just have a blog where you're sharing information, let's say your travel blog, or let's say you do some cooking and you want a cooking blog, or you just share recipes, that's not important. But if you have a business website where you are selling products, of course you need product pages and maybe one or many product pages. And if you have services, then you need a special page to describe what kind of services you provide. So having that is important. And then having these last three are important for, again, a couple of them are important for compliance. So you need to have privacy policy on a website. This is important. You need to have a page dedicated to privacy policy. You need to have a terms of service page, which is also important. And a contact page is important for generating any kind of business. So if you want users to be able to connect with you, to contact you, to have a conversation with you, then you need to have a contact page on your site. Now, how do we create these pages? How do we do that? I'll cover some of the basics here. I'll explain some of the things here, what to do. So how to create these pages? Again, if you go back to our site here, if I go back to our site, I'm using a theme called the Sydney theme, right? So I'll just drop a couple of links here. If you want to use the same theme, it's the Sydney theme. So these are the themes. So why am I sharing this? Because when I installed the Sydney theme, it prompted me to say, hey, if you want to use any kind of, let's say, starter template to have a website designed in a certain way, I said yes. And what it did is it created a lot of essential pages for me. So it created the main homepage for me. It created some other pages for me. So a lot of times the pages will be created for you automatically. So all you have to do is go into the pages section. If I zoom in on the screen, the pages section, and check out what pages are already available on your site. And if you want to create a page, then there are some easy ways to do it. You can just go to pages and click add new page. So I'll just demonstrate how we can do it. Oh, I haven't saved my settings first. So let me just save, update my profile so that the color scheme will change. Now I'll go to pages and add a new page and I'll add a new page to your site. And it's pretty easy. Again, the designing part is something we might cover later, but this is basically how to do a thing. For example, I'll just come here and say privacy policy, and I'm just typing it as a demonstration here. This is the privacy policy for this website. And now basically I've just created a page. I can just go here and publish it, and I'll just go here and publish. And the new page is actually now created on the site. So creating pages is not challenging. Now I can open the page up for you. And of course, it's not a complete page. It's not a complete privacy policy. I'm just demonstrating that it's not very hard to create new pages. So if you see here, now we have a privacy policy page done. And now it's also has a URL. So this is how easy to set up. So going back, oh, I was not sharing my screen. I'm so sorry. I think I completely messed up. I have to go back a little bit and show you some things from the beginning. So, okay, let me go back to screen share. All right. So I was talking about how easy it is to create a page on your site. So if I go back here, I'll zoom in. The pages section is here, right? You see all pages, and then you also have the option of add new page. So if you want to create a new page on your site, all you have to do is go to the pages and click add a new page. This will open up the interface where you're able to create a new page. And what I just basically demonstrated was if I go here and say privacy policy, let's say if I'm, or I'll say contact us page. So I'll say contact us, and then I can have a contact page. So this is something different. You can ignore it for now. Just giving a demonstration or an example that, hey, this is how it's easy it is. And then you can add some information. So let's say if I add a terms of service page. So I'll just change the title to terms of service. And I'll go here and say, this is the terms of service for our website. Right. So that's how it is. And now if I want to just publish this site or publish this page, I can go here and click publish, and it should be done in a second. And now we can go and check out this page here. So now we see the terms of service page is enabled. And since we set up the permalinks correctly, if we zoom in, the URL also says terms of service. So creating a page or creating pages on your site is this easy. So going back to my slides for a second, going back to my slides, as I mentioned, all these pages are absolutely important for you to set up. These are some are required by law, some are required for you to have a functioning website and a useful website. So what are these pages? I'll remind you once again. We talked about having a home page, an about us page, products or services page, privacy policy, terms of service, and contact page. All these pages are important. And again, this is not an exhaustive list. Depending on your website, you might have different links, you might have different pages to your site. So these are essentials that most, or I say almost every single website needs to have on their site. All right. So switching back to my camera for a second, that is the second section of this workshop, which are the essential pages you should have on your website. Let's go to the third section, which is even more exciting. I think a lot of people will find this very valuable. If I go back here, next set of settings is cosmetic changes that we can make on a website. These will make your website look pretty. This will make your website look professional. This will increase the likelihood that users uh, perceive your website as something good and will allow you to have more users taking action on your site. So, what are the settings? Again, these are not exhaustive. I'm just saying, hey, this is something you need to remember and know where to change. So, we'll talk about how to upload your logo to your site, how to customize your menu, customize your header, and customize your footer. So if I switch back for a second and go here on our site, all right, let's go back to the admin area. All right. So as I said, four things. We'll upload logos, we'll change our menus, we'll customize the header, and we'll customize the footer. So we'll start with that order. First thing we need to do is use or upload our logo. Now, as I said, I'm using the Sydney theme. I already shared the links. If you are interested in checking out Sydney theme, that's available in the description or in the chat box. You can check it out. Now, Sydney has a great feature where it has an admin area of its own. So you can manage the theme in its own admin area. If I hover over here and go to Sydney, you can see the theme dashboard. That is where we can go and check out what the theme is about. So if I hover over this and go to the theme dashboard, I can configure essential settings, or at least the links to essential settings on the website are all available directly in this area. So you can see here, if I want to customize my website, I can click customize and change my site and title, go to header builder, footer builder, buttons, color options, block templates, and everything else. Now, this is one way to do things, but your theme might be different. But most themes where they allow these options to be configured is the customizer. And what is the customizer? It's a built-in feature to WordPress where it allows you to configure your theme settings. That's why it's called a customizer, because you can customize settings. And your customizer is, as I said, it's a native WordPress feature. It's available in the appearance tab. So if I have to show it to you, this is the appearance tab. And if I hover over it, you'll see a lot of different options, but this is the one we're looking for, customize. So once we click on customize, it's going to take you to a completely different interface. So let's go there. And it might look very weird or new to people who are not familiar with this interface. So don't worry, I'll try to explain everything about the customizer. And as I said, it's a native WordPress feature. You don't have to worry about, hey, there's some theme messing your website up. This is how it's supposed to look like. It takes the first, since I'm loading it the first time, it might take a few seconds. So any visual changes you want to make to your site, essentially how a website looks, performs, what kind of banners are, or what kind of margins, everything else, you can customize. Now, we've done a few videos about this on how to use the customizer, but as you can see, there's so many options here, so many options here. Now, going into every single option will take 3 more hours, and this workshop will be way too long. So I'll speed this along. We first will go into the header builder. That's where we can upload our logo. Now, Sydney has a beautiful feature where if you see this is the website's header, you can customize the header in a visual manner, right? Most websites, if you want to customize, they'll give you some pre-built options. Some teams might just give you a couple of options and then you might have to pay for more, or you might have to do something else, or you might to just change the website code. But with Sydney theme, they have a beautiful header builder and footer builder as well. So if you go into the header section here, which I'm hovering over, this will open up the header builder. So now what you see here is there's two things to remember. You have a new option here. Oops. You have this as the header, and this is a, let's say, a interface where you can understand how the header is structured. Okay, how it's structured. So if you see here, the site identity where it says the logo and the brand and the tagline is what you see here. And then you have the primary menu, which is here. And then you have the search option, which is here. So everything that you see in the header builder is how it is set up on the website. So how do we customize these? Well, it's very easy. The first thing what we need to do is add a logo, right? So what I'll do is I'll hover over the logo here. I can just click the site identity option or the gear icon here, and it'll open the site identity. And now you can see this is a current logo, and it also says the site title, and there's some couple additional settings. So let's start with changing the logo, right? So I think I have a logo saved on my computer. So I'll just click change image. Let me see if I can find the logo. Let's add or upload the logo here. And I hope it's the right size. If it's not, I'll just delete the logo temporarily. Let's choose the logo and it should load up in a couple of seconds. Now, the benefit of using this feature is that if your logo is too big, like it is in my case, we can always reduce the size like this, like this. All right. And we can make some additional changes. We can change the alignment, the line height, the tagline, and we can also upload a fev icon. So as I said in the beginning of the presentation, the fev icon is not something you need to upload from the backend. You can always upload the logo from here as a fev icon. So I'll just do that again. I hope it's the right size, and I'll just click select, and we'll crop it a bit just to keep it simple. I'll just keep the same thing. Let's crop image, and it should be done. Now, since I uploaded the fev icon, if I zoom into the screen, now you see the fev icon actually shows up on the side. Pretty cool, right? Very easy to do. So now the fev icon shows up and the logo is already showing up. Now, since the customizer is a little more extensive than I'd like to explain in this presentation, I'll just leave it at that. But if I have to explain, you can change the logo around. And let's say if you want to, don't want to have the site title, you can always disable the entire logo and everything. So you have a lot of different settings here, and you can completely change everything else. But since this is about understanding what features we need to do, I'll go back and I'll just click the publish button, and this will just publish our changes. And we can go back to the header builder and actually understand how do we customize the header. So as I said, that whatever you see on this section is a 1:1 basically recreation of what you see here. And you see there are actually three rows here, right? There's one row, top row. So there's a top row, there is a main row, and there's a bottom row. But here we see only one row because the top and bottom rows are empty. So we can utilize these entries or these menus or these places or empty areas to actually move things around. So for a lot of websites, you might have noticed that they have things set up in a very unique way where let's say the logo of the site is in the middle, and then they have the menu at the bottom, and they have the search somewhere here like this. And let me move things around a little bit. Let's move it here. Right. So now you can see that in a couple of seconds, by moving things around here, we have a completely different new look to our site. And again, now I can change the site logo if I want to make it bigger and everything, customize it. And if I want to go back again, I just have to drag things around like this. So I can just go back and now it's done this way. And if I want this to be done this way, then I can make it this way as well. So basically you have complete control on customizing your header. And of course, we want to make it look professional. So I'll just switch back to the regular option here, which is the primary menu, and search here, and I'll move search here, and we'll just move it around here. Right. Let's do it here like this. And this is the default one, which we were starting with. Now, this feature is, as I said, I'm using the specific theme, which I mentioned, which is the Sydney theme. This has this feature. Not all themes might support this feature. So make sure to check out what features your theme allows you to make changes to your site like this. Now, this was the header. If I go back and cross this, okay, let's go back to our section. I'll just close this for a second. Right. So what I'll do is I just customize the header. Now you want to customize the footer as well. So how do we do that? So what I'll do is I'll scroll to the bottom, which is the footer of the website, right? And then you can see this is the footer. If I click on this, then we should switch to the footer builder. And the functionality of the footer builder works the same way. What you see here is what the footer should be like. It's just copyright. You can add columns, reduce the number of columns because usually footers are divided into columns. You can add essential links, HTML elements. And one thing I didn't mention is if you hover over a blank area, you see a plus icon. And if you click on it, you can add social icons, buttons, HTML elements, widgets. And if you upgrade to the pro version of the theme, you might have even more elements to add this. So not only can you rearrange the elements on the screen, whatever is already added, you can move them around as well. So that's very useful. It's a very powerful feature inside the Sydney theme, which can make your website building experience quite easy and manageable. So that's the header and footer builder. But what about the menu? If I scroll back here, you see this is a menu. Now, how do we actually change this? I don't want, let's say, the home page to be linked here, or I want some other pages to be linked first. So how do we change this? So let's get back to our site and I'll show you how to change this around. So let's close this and we'll make it okay. Now, going back to the menus here, so something you need to understand about menus is you can create multiple menus on your site, which can be used or rotated in options, and then use different menus in different areas. I'll explain that in a second. So how do we access menus? We have to go once again into the appearance section. Inside the appearance section, if you hover over here, you will see menus here. Can you see menus? I'll zoom into the screen. So appearance, menus. So I'll go into the menus, and this is where we'll see how we can configure our menus. Okay, so this might be a little confusing to beginners when they start out. It was very confusing for me when I started out, but eventually it's very simple once you understand how it works. So you have two options here. First is edit menus. Okay, you have edit menus and you have managed locations. Then you have the menu name and something else. So we need to understand how these things work. All right. So if you go into the managed locations first, it will show you all the areas where your theme allows you to use menus. So themes have certain menu areas. So you can see this is an area where we can add a menu, maybe sometimes in the sidebar or sometimes in the footer. And then when you create a menu, you can assign a menu to be used by a certain area. So if you go back here on the edit menu section, this is where we can create a menu. And this is right now the main menu that is already created. If you want to create a new menu, just type in a new name and just save changes and the new menu will be created. And you can always make changes around. So let's say, for example, I create a menu called the main menu, which is this menu. It's easy to understand. Now I want to change this or customize this. So what I can do is I can take any of these things or pages that are added to the menu, delete them, add them, customize them, add new pages, remove pages, or add something I like. So basically everything is possible here. So how do you move things around? So let's say, for example, I want a home page to be last. I'll just click and drag and you can see I can move things around and done. And now you might have a question. Then how do I create a sub menu or sub item that like if I hover over it, the menu should appear? Well, that's pretty simple too. All you have to do is click and drag to the right. So drag to the right like this, and you'll see a little switch happening. So if I drag it to the right, that page will be a sub item. If I hover or zoom in on the screen, now this is a sub item. So this is how you can create sub item as well, right? That's how you do it. And if you want to delete a page, all you have to do is hover, click on this drop down icon here, and then you have navigation and everything else. But you just click remove, and that's now removed. What about adding pages? So if you, let's say, have a page, or if you want to add something else, or even a custom link, then you can use either the recent section here, which is pages. So if you want to use a page, some recent pages will be visible here. If you go to view all the pages will be visible here. You can search for a page from your site. For example, let's say I want to add the privacy policy. So I will just search for privacy. And now you see privacy policies here. I'll click on it and I'll say add to menu. And it should be added to the menu now. And I can just move it around. I can place it anywhere I like. And I can do the same thing for posts and category pages. And I can create a custom link. So something that, let's say I want to just link out to a new website, I can just create a custom link here. And that can be added to a site as here. Once you're happy with the menu, and hey, this is what I want, you can assign it to be displayed in a location, right? So if, let's say this is the primary menu, as I said, if I hover over this is the primary menu of the site, right? Primary menu. So if you want to make this menu that we just edited the primary menu of your site, just check this box. So this menu will become your primary menu. So if I click save menu, it should be saved. And depending on the cache, might take a couple of seconds. And let's try and refresh. Yes. And now you can see the old menu had different pages. It had the home page. And now you see work page, which I just added, also the privacy policy. So the first way, you completely changed the menu here. So what you can do is, let's say if you want to switch menus around, let's say I'm running a special offer and let's say it's Black Friday deals and I want to add a page for Black Friday. So instead of changing menus around, you can create multiple menus. So one menu might be a main menu one, then probably main menu two, and then you can just come here and say, hey, today I want to switch to main menu two. So change it to primary menu, or you can go to the manage locations section and say, hey, make my primary menu menu one or menu two, and it will be changed automatically. And of course, you have other options. Well, you can have a mobile menu, which you can create, and a secondary menu, which you can add to the footer everywhere else as well. So this concludes our this section, which was how to customize your website in terms of adding a logo, adding or customizing your menu, customizing your header, and customizing your footer. Very important and very useful to make your website look professional. It's very important to understand. Let's head to the next section of this presentation, which is very, very important, which is setting up essential plugins on your site. Now, if you're a WordPress beginner, or let's say if you've been using WordPress for some time now, you might already know what plugins are, but many people don't realize what plugins are. So let me explain in a minute what plugins are, what plugins do, and the powerful features they can provide for you. So let's switch next slide, which is what are plugins and what do they do? Very important to understand. So I'll explain in the easiest way possible. I'll explain this in the easiest way possible, and I'll just show you an image, and everybody will understand instantly what I'm talking about. Right? Everybody has this. Everybody has a smartphone. Everybody has one, right? It might be an iOS device or Android device. This is an iPhone, but it doesn't matter. If you have any smartphone you use, or you can understand this. For example, I have a Samsung device. It's a Samsung phone, it's an Android device. What does this mean? What am I talking about? So similar to how on a smartphone, if you have an iPhone, you will quickly understand this. You might see this, right? You might see this blue icon, which I'm going to highlight on the screen. It's the App Store, right? On the phone, you have an App Store. And on Google devices or Android devices, you have the Play Store. What do we do with the App Store, Play Store? We download apps. So without an apps, a smartphone is basically useless, or at least very, very, very less useful than it is. So using your camera requires an app. If you want to scroll through Instagram, you require an app. If you want to watch YouTube, you need an app. If you want to use WhatsApp or communication, you need an app. So for every additional functionality you want to add to your website, not a website, or your smartphone, apps are the things that make it happen. And that is exactly what plugins allow you to do. That is exactly what plugins allow you to do. Every website can have different plugins, but every website needs some essential plugins. What does this mean? So as I said, if you every person that you go to will have different kinds of apps on their phone. But there's some apps that'll be on every phone. So you'll probably find Instagram or Facebook. You'll probably find the phone app to actually make calls. You'll probably find the browser, so Chrome browser, Safari browser. You'll probably find WhatsApp or any popular communication platform. You find iMessage on phones. So these are apps that every phone will have, regardless of what they're actually trying to do with their phones. Similar to that, depending on your functionality, depending on how you want your website to be, you might need some specific plugins. But there are some essential plugins that every website needs. And by default, WordPress doesn't ship with plugins. Usually it's blank, or some hosting providers might mails for sending you passwords. So huge problem. Same thing happens for any users that are connected to site. Updates turned on for anything. If you publish posts and you send out emails automatically, none of this will work unless you have an SMTP plugin configured on your site. So it's absolutely important. Next is a caching plugin. Now, what does caching mean? I'll spare the technical details, but caching just helps speed up your website. So website, when a page is built, it takes a lot of technical like know-how, or at least the and caching just simplifies the process. It simplifies the process so the end user visiting your website doesn't have to wait as long for the page to load. So it makes it very easy to have a fast website without having to invest a lot in server resources. So caching is essential. And the good news is most websites, if you build a website in the past 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and you've used a reputed hosting provider, they will pre-install a caching plugin for you. And the website that I'm using also has a caching plugin installed, but I'll share my personal recommendations or our personal recommendations on what plugins you should use. Then you also need a backup plugin. Very important. Now imagine this, like you have probably have tons of photos on your phone and you probably have them backed up to Google Photos or iCloud or any other service. How would you feel if all the photos disappear and you lose everything? It'd be heartbreaking, right? That's how things can happen for your website. You don't have, if you don't have a backup, if your website gets hacked, let's say by accident, if your server crashes or something happens, something breaks and you lose the content, without a backup, you cannot go back. So backup is like an insurance. Everybody has insurance. So you should have your website's insurance, which is having a backup. So I'll show you how a backup plugin works, which backup plugins are the best. Then you also need a contact form plugin. Now, WordPress has contact forms built in, but they're not functional, or they're not enough. They don't have rich functions for you to actually use them professionally. You can get basic emails for, hey, this is what the people are signing up for. But having a professional email or professional contact form plugin, not email, will give you control over what kind of things you want to capture and design user-friendly forms, mobile-friendly forms, or embed them in different areas on your website. So having a contact form plugin is absolutely important. Next is the analytics plugin. Now, there are a lot of different services that help you collect data about users and hey, what they do, so you can understand if your marketing is working, if your content marketing is working. And that's one of the best services is Google Analytics. Big challenge with Google Analytics is it's very hard to set up, especially for beginners. If I had to set up Google Analytics on my website without the plugin I'm going to mention, I would give up. It's very technical. It's a huge problem. So the analytics plugin that I'm going to mention helps you connect with Google Analytics and gives you essential data right inside the WordPress admin area. So you don't have to go to the analytics service and like be complicated with 10,000 reports and figure out every single thing. It'll give you everything right inside your admin area. Then the next one that you need is image optimization. So images are one of the most heaviest things in terms of size on a web page. So your website, if you have a lot of images, it's very likely if you're not optimizing your images, your website is performing way slower than it can. So you're losing a lot of resources just because your images are too big. Because a lot of people, what they do is they'll go to a website, for example, Envato Elements, or they'll go to Unsplash, or they take pictures with their phone. They say, if you have a baking blog, you should take a lot of pictures with your smartphone. Now, all the devices that we have today, and even the images available for free, or if you license some images, are huge. And you don't need those huge images. So you are unnecessarily putting a lot of load on your website, which doesn't have to be that way. So having an image optimization plugin will take care of all of that. So it'll compress your images, it'll reduce the image size to what's appropriate, it'll optimize the images, and will help your website perform much, much, much faster than what it does without the optimization. That's important. The next plugin is a privacy law compliance plugin. So if you're not aware, there are a lot of different privacy laws that exist. There's CCPA, there's GDPR, and things keep changing. So you need to be compliant or be compliant if you are doing any kind of business or collecting any kind of user data. If you don't know, Facebook, Meta have been fined £1 billion in the past few years for violating these laws. So they are serious business. And there are some other solutions in the market. They don't work as well. So I'm going to share the actual plugin that we recommend that will help you comply with privacy laws. Then you also need a code management plugin. Now, what is this? Now, this is something not this is not something that will break your functionality if you don't have it, but this will give you more options to manage your website better. So a lot of times when you're working with your website, you might add some marketing pixels to your site. You might make some code changes, or you want to have a certain functionality which is not available on your website, and a code snippet will fix it. So instead of changing your theme files, which is risky, a code management plugin will allow you to keep it simple and just manage those code snippets easier so they can maintain them, delete them, edit them. And it's a much safer way of making changes to your website, and you can go back anytime. So these are the essential plugins that we'll use. Now, what are the plugins? What are the actual recommendations? So what I'll do is I'll open the web pages for those and I'll show you how to install those plugins so you can just follow along and see them. So I'll switch to my webcam for a second and let's head back to our site and go here. All right. So I'm going to talk about the recommendations one by one. I'm going to share a link in the comments. And I'm going to install the plugin for you right here so that you can see that this is not difficult to do. And most of the plugins that I'm mentioning, the best part about them is that most of the plugins, or at least the complicated ones that require some setup, feature a setup wizard. So when we install the plugin, you'll see a setup wizard pop up. So if you just follow along the settings, follow along the setup wizard, most of the complicated things will be done for you. So it will set up. So let's start with the first one, which is SEO plugin, right? So we'll go into the plugin section. We go to add a new plugin. And the plugin recommendation of choice when it comes to SEO is all-in-one SEO. So all you have to do is type AIO SEO and just type it in the search box, right? So I'll zoom in on the screen. AIO SEO stands for all in one SEO. Go all in one SEO. This is what you see, all in one SEO, powerful SEO plugin to boost SEO rankings and increase traffic. This is the one that you see here. You can see 3 million plus active installs. Crazy. And it's 4.5 ratings on 4,688. It's a very, very powerful plugin. Just have to click install now. Take a few seconds and it will be displayed on your site. The website link is aioseo.com. So I'll just leave links to the free version of the plugin in the WordPress repository and the actual website. So you can go and decide if the premium version is something you should be looking at. All right. So just added both links here. You can go check them out. I'll activate the plugin in the meantime. And if I've done everything correctly, setup wizard should pop up. If not, then we can always trigger it. And All-in-One SEO does have a setup wizard. You can always trigger the setup wizard. And what will help you do is configure essential SEO settings on your site. So within 10 minutes of your time, you can have the basic SEO setup for your site. And I'm going to share some interesting resources once we finish the plugin section and the maintenance section on how you can learn all these things yourself if you want to learn, hey, I want to set up the SEO perfectly. I want to set up everything else perfectly. All right. So that's the first plugin you should install on a site. The next one is with regards to website security. So I'll go back here and just as an example, I'll also open up the website for all-in-one SEO. So just to show you, this is the website for all-in-one SEO. Right. So I'll just open these websites so you can be familiar with, hey, this is the website. This is how the website looks. Next time you want to open this website up, you can just see that, hey, this is what a website is. Okay. All right. Checking on the next one. The next website is Sukri, or not a website, but the plugin is called Sukri. So I'll go here and type in SUCURI. I'll zoom in on screen as well. Sukri. This is the keyword that you can search for, and you will search for this and you'll land at this security, auditing, malware scanning, and security hardening. This is a very, very powerful plugin, and we use it on W Beginner as well. It's highly, highly recommended. All right. So I'll click install now, and this plugin will start. And if you want to use or see the website, I'll open it up in a new tab. I'll close some other websites in the meantime. Right. All right. So this is Sukri's website. It's pretty awesome, and they offer a lot of premium services as well if you want to upgrade to a pro thing. So that is also possible. I'll close this for now, and I'll just leave links to both the free version of the plugin and the freemium website where you can go and see the pro version in the comments here. So both of them should be visible here. Let's also activate this plugin. All right. So that's the security plugin of choice. Very, very powerful security plugin, and it'll help you do a lot of things, and it'll help you prevent any kind of malicious users being logged into your site. It'll harden your login security, and you can do a lot of things inside security. So it's not just a passive plugin that you install. If you go into the dashboard, you can see firewall settings and logins. So anytime any person trying to log into your site, it actually logs that, hey, these are the people who have tried to log in your site. So you can block them, block the certain IPs. It's very, very powerful. All right. So this is the plugin, very useful. Let's go to the next one, which is the SMTP plugin. So again, I'll click add new here and go to the SMTP, and I'll search here for WP mail SMTP. And I'll zoom in again so you can see what I'm typing, WP mail SMTP. So this is one of the most powerful plugins for SMTP. I use it on my website, and I'm very happy with it. I've been using the pro version for 2 years now. Very, very powerful. You can see this is the plugin, WP mail SMTP by WP Forms. I'll click install now, and I'll leave links to the website. Let me open the website as well for you. So the website should look like this: WP Mail SMTP, making email delivery easy for WordPress. It's pretty, pretty powerful. You can see so many brands actually use it and connect with it. So it's pretty powerful. Right. So let's close this as well. And going back here, I'll activate the plugin, and I'll leave links to SMTP plugins, both the free version and the website, here in the description or in the chat window. So you can go check it out. That is also something you can check out. All right, so let's activate this as well. And as I said, many of the plugins have a setup wizard. So you can see as soon as I installed WPML SMTP, now it started that, hey, this is how to set up. So if you follow the wizard, it'll help you set up a lot of essential settings. So even if you're not a, let's say, a plugin wizard or WordPress wizard, you should be able to set up most of the things by yourself. That's pretty cool, right? So for now, for this example, for this demonstration, I'll skip this part, but you should not skip it. You can always go back and trigger that setup process. So that's WP Mail SMTP for you. Let's head to the next one, which is caching. So as I said, caching is something that most hosting providers will automatically configure, or at least they'll have a free plugin installed and configured. And if I go hover over here, if I zoom in over here on the screen, if you see this icon is actually from the caching plugin that Hostinger, which is this website is based on, has installed for me. It's called Lightspeed Cache. So you can see Lightspeed Cache. This is a caching plugin already installed on my site. And this is the exact plugin that we also recommend that you can get started for free. So if I go to the plugin section, I click add new and I open it up for you. And just to give you an example, I'll also open up the plugins, the plugin repository and show Lightspeed Cache. This is how it looks like. You can download it and install on your site. And I'll just copy the name from here, just keep making it easy. I'll close this for now. Going back to our site, I'll search for Lightspeed Cache. And you can see the Lightspeed Cache plugin is already installed because if I zoom in on the screen, it says active because I already have this plugin active and Hostinger, that the hosting provider I'm using right now, has already installed this. So I don't have to install anything else. But if you want to take your caching to the next level, have professional controls and make it absolutely amazing and easy, and if you want to configure everything perfectly, then a premium service that we recommend or premium plugin that we recommend is WP Rocket. In the industry, WP Rocket is known as one of the best plugins when it comes to premium plugins for caching and setup. So WP Rocket, this is the website you can check out. I'll again link or leave links to both Lightspeed Cache and WP Rocket in the chat box here. So you can check out both of them here. Right. The next plugin of choice is backups. As I said, backups are insurance for your website. So you need insurance. It's very risky to operate a website without insurance. So what do we use? We use a plugin called Duplicator. I'll open the website up first so you can see how it looks like. This is Duplicator, the best WordPress backup and migration plugin. If you talk about the features, does secure backups, scheduling backups, cloud storage, one-click restore, website cloning, and a lot of different features. I personally use it on my website as well. And let me show you how it works. So I'll just go here and I'll search for the duplicator plugin. Oops, I made a spelling error. Okay, duplicator. If I zoom in, this is what it looks like. Pretty simple, the actual word duplicator. And now you can see duplicator backups and migration plugin. You can see 1 million active install, 5-star ratings from 4,696 satisfied people who use this plugin. Pretty awesome. So let's click install now. And making backups is also very easy. It's very quick. It just takes maybe a few minutes of your time. And the Pro version has scheduling features as well. So you can set up backups to be done every week, every day, every few hours even, and have multiple schedules. So you can say hey, every day backup my website 2 times, but every month backup like this. So it's pretty powerful. And I'll leave links to both the Duplicator, the free version, and the website. So you can go check it out here. I'll leave it in the chat here. And again, you see the Duplicator has a nice interface where you can use the plugin right there. Okay. So the next plugin we'll look at is a contact form plugin. And I'll open the website up first for the recommended plugin, which is WP Forms. Okay. So let me just click here, WP Forms. This is the website, drag and drop WordPress form builder. This is the best part about using WP. It's a drag and drop builder. And if you see the demonstration here, this is how it looks like when I install it. And if we actually go through a demonstration, this is how it looks like. So you have a form built in. And if you want to say, I want to add more fields here, you can drag and drop things and you can create a form. Okay, it's pretty awesome. I use it on my website. And of course, it's a fantastic plugin. So let me close this up here. And let's go and install WP Forms on our site by going here, plugins, go to add a new plugin. And I think WP Forms is already installed on my site because I was testing it out. So you can see WP Forms here, but I'll still show you how to search for it. WP Forms, and I'll zoom in so you can see WP Forms. This is how it looks like. Oops. WP Forms, you can search for it. And once you search for it, this will what will come up. WP Forms, easy form builder for WordPress, contact forms, payment forms, service, and more. So it's a powerful plugin. And in the Pro version, you can do a lot of things. You can have conditional logic with forms. You can do payment captures, and you can do a lot of things with WP Forms. So again, a fantastic plugin, definitely worth checking out. Already installed on my site. I'll leave links to both of them here in the chat so you can check it out. The next plugin is that our choice is analytics. So as I said, if we search for Google Analytics, So Google Analytics is a pretty awesome service. You probably have heard of it. So you can get insights about, hey, how your website performs, what kind of users, how much revenue, tracking, all that good stuff that are very important for a business website. The challenge that I mentioned is it's very hard to set up. Even though it's completely free, setting it up on a website is very, very challenging. That's where the plugin of choice comes into play. And the plugin is called Monster Insights. Right, so you can say the best WordPress analytics plugin, and what it does, it's allow you to set up your website with Google Analytics in the easiest way possible. So it's very, very easy for you to set up a website with Google Analytics. So what it does real-time analytics. It also does e-commerce. So if you have an e-commerce website, you know how important analytics are. So it'll set that up. You also are GDPR compliant. You can do user analytics, and you also get SEO ranking. And if you upgrade to the pro version, the best part about it is you can actually do chatting, or you can chat with the reports. So based with using AI features, you can actually talk to Monster Insight and say, hey, what are my landing page statistics? Have they improved from the past month? And you can just talk to it like a professional analytics person just working on your website constantly. And you can see in the back end, what it does is allow you to have essential data right on your fingertips. So instead of going to Google Analytics and searching through 20,000 reports, you can just come here and see, hey, these are the sessions, these are the device breakdown, these are the number of sessions, conversion rate, past 7 days, past 30 days, and what are the top conversion sources. Everything is visible easier. So it makes it absolutely easy for you to use this plugin. So, or use this plugin and get benefit out of it. So let's search for it. Let's install it. We'll search for Monster Insights. Once again, I'll zoom into the screen so you can see it. Oops. Let's zoom in. Monster Insights. This is the name of the plugin we'll use, Monster Insights. And it is here, Monster Insights Google Analytics Dashboard for WordPress. So just click install now. It'll take a couple of seconds to install and it'll be done. And again, it helps you set up Google Analytics. You just have to copy, I think, a couple of properties from Google Analytics and paste it here. And rest everything else is actually set up for you. You don't have to worry about it. So that's pretty awesome. Monster Insights from and helps you connect with Google Analytics. So let's wait for the plugin to be activated. And in the meantime, I'll just paste links for the free version of the plugin, which we just installed, and also the website right here in the chat. So you can go check it out. All right. So that's also done. All right. Let's talk about the next one, which is image optimization. So as I mentioned, image optimization, very, very important. If you want your website's performance to be super fast and not drag along, then we need to have an image management plugin. And I say image compression plugin. There are a lot of plugins on the market. Our recommended choice is called EWWW, website optimizer. It's a little different name, not might sound a little weird to you, but that's one of the most popular plugins when it comes to website image optimization. And you can see speed of your website with image optimization, 9 billion. It's a billion with a B images optimized, 427 terabytes of bandwidth saved, 1 million websites that use the plugin. And this is also serves as CDN, which is a little complicated technical topic. So I'll stick with that. This is the website plugin. So how do we install it? There's a free version, of course. So we just have to go into our plugin section, click add new, and go here and search for EWWW image, and this should be enough for it to show up. So EWWW. It's a very hard thing to say, EWWW. So that's how you search for it, and you can see it here, EWWW image optimizer. So you can click on it, and it just takes a couple of seconds to install. And while it installs, I'll just share the links to the free version of the plugin and also the website I just showed you, so you can go check them out whenever you like. All right, this is the plugin. I'll activate it as well. And while this activates, I'll talk about the next important plugin, which is compliance. So as I was mentioning, that compliance is a huge thing. You need to be compliant with a lot of different regulations, privacy law, CCPA, GDPR. You need to know about this and be compliant. And a lot of different plugin solutions in the market don't work as well, don't work as advertised. And the solution that we recommend, which is absolutely fantastic, is called WP Consent. So let me show you the website. I think the website is wpconsent.com. If you open this up, this is how the website looks like. It's pretty simple and it gets the job done. And the best part is on WP Consent's website, WP Consent is what they use to manage consent, right? Pretty easy. So it adds a cookie banner to your site. You get lots of control customizing the banner, and it does automatically searching for everything. There's a lot of things. And I think I've done a couple of videos on our channel already demonstrating how to use WP Consent. and it's pretty powerful. Of course, there's free version as well, which I'm going to demonstrate how to use. So let's go back to our site here. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, if I close some of these here, a lot of different websites that I've just demonstrated to you also use WP Consent. So if I see Monster Insights, they also use WP Consent to manage consent. If I remember correctly, Duplicator also uses WP Consent. So these are professional websites that are using WP Consent to manage consent and be compliant with different kinds of privacy laws. So let's go here. Let's go to add a new plugin once again and search for WP consent, and it should show up in a second. And this is what the keyword is, WP consent, so that you can actually take a screenshot if you want. So you can see WP consent, cookie consent banner for privacy compliance. It's a relatively new plugin, but very, very powerful. So let's install it now as well. And in the meantime, I'm going to share links to the free plugin and also the website here. And a second. And these are the links I have just added to the chat. And let's also activate this plugin. That's the next plugin, which is important. And let's talk about the next important plugin, which is a code management plugin. So I'll skip this part for now, WP Consents interface or the setup wizard. And next plugin I was talking about is a code management plugin. And the plugin of choice is WP Code. It's a very powerful feature or powerful plugin. I use it on my website. So the functionality that I use it for is adding the Facebook pixel, and I want to add or remove certain functionality on my website without having to mess with website custom code. So that is very powerful. Again, there's a free version which you can use, but it's very powerful. One of the most underrated plugins for WordPress, in my opinion. And using this plugin can replace 10 or 20 different plugins, because a lot of times you might want to do a certain very small thing and you might need to install a plugin on a site, and you might think, hey, you need to install this plugin, and WP Code might have just a code snippet that you can add to your website and it just should solve the problem. So let's install it on our site now. Once again, I'll go to plugin section, add new plugin, and I'll search for WP Code. And in the meantime, I want to answer a very important question that you might have, that, hey, this guy is installing so many different plugins on the site. Is it all right to have this many plugins? It's absolutely okay to have plugins, or let's say multiple plugins on your site. It's completely fine. If you check your phone, you probably have 100 different apps. That's not a fair comparison, but a lot of people think that, hey, having too many plugins will cause my website to slow down, will have problems. It's never about the quantity of plugins. It's always about the quality of plugins. And all the plugins that we recommend are, uh, as a backed by us or tested by us, so we can stand behind the quality of the plugin. So rest assured that having 10, 15 different high quality plugins, even 50 high quality different plugins, will not affect the performance of your website. So you don't have to worry about performance in any case. All right. So WP Code is also installed, and you can see all the plugins that we're installing are showing up on the left-handed menu. That's how we customize and manage them. All right. So let me share code management here as well, the plugin, WP Code, the link to the free version, and also this. So these are all the essential plugins that you need to have on your site. And of course, depending on the functionality you want to have, you might want to have different plugins, but these are the essential plugins that every website owner should have. And there's one more section that I want to cover in this workshop before uh, we end it, and we talk about what is that is, and which is essential website maintenance, right? So if you go here, essential website maintenance. So once you install these plugins, once you've configured everything, once you've set up essential pages, configured essential settings, we still need to go back and maintain a website on a regular basis. As I mentioned, that's like a car, right? You buy a car, you get some accessories fit in, you get a new stereo, or Bluetooth, or wireless charging, or some tinted windows, something like that. But you still need to maintain your car every 6 months, get an oil change, get the engine refinement, check your tires. Similar to this, you need to manage your website. Otherwise, it might be slow down or something like that. So there's some essential things that we can replicate or keep repeating over time to maintain a website. So what are those essential things? Let's talk about that. Essential website maintenance activities. First of all, these are something, this is a best practice. So of course, maintain strong passwords. This is very important. Strong passwords, and regularly update your password. So instead of having password as 123456, or password as password, or a space or something like that, have a very strong password, because that's the first, and let's say the password is the only thing that's stopping someone from not able to take control of your site. So the stronger your password is, the stronger your website security is. So similar to how you protect your bank account with a strong password, please protect your website with a strong password. And ideally, you should change it often. So, for example, I use my banking app and they force me to change my password every 90 days because they understand that, hey, if I change my password every 90 days, uh, it'll be more secure. Similar to that, keep changing your password every, let's say, 90 days is a good measure, and keep a secure password. And one thing you might have seen in the beginning, that if you go and change your password through WordPress, it automatically generates a secure password for you. So you don't have to think about, hey, what should I keep the password? You can have WordPress do it for you. But again, you might need to remember the password. It's a little complicated, right? That's the first thing. Next thing is regularly update WordPress plugins and themes. This is very, very, very important. So what purposefully I did for this demonstration is I did not update my WordPress version so that I can demonstrate this point. I can demonstrate this point. So what I'll do is I'll switch to my website for a second to show you how we can do this. I'll also show you how to update your password first of all. So if you joined late, let me show you. So for changing your password, you have to go into user section, go to profile, which will open up your profile on your website, and you have to scroll to the bottom of the page. So from the page, scroll to the bottom and you'll find this option, new password. So if you click on it, it'll generate a new password for you. You can save your settings or update your profile, and that will be then your new password. That's how you change your password. So keep making this change every 90 days or at least, so that your website is secure. And the next thing which I was talking about, completely missed what I was talking about. One second, I'll switch here. And yeah, so we were talking about updating our website. So if I go back to here, how do we update? So there are a couple of ways to update. Now, most of the plugins that I've installed, since I just installed them right now, they are already updated, but I'll still show you how to see if the plugin updates available. So for checking out any plugin updates, so we'll have to go into a plugin section. We'll go to our installed plugin section. So if I zoom in, you can see plugins, installed plugins. All right. So go to plugins, install plugins. And if there's an update available for a plugin, you'll usually see it. Update is available, update is available, update is available. So you just have to click on it and the update will start. But the important part is right now on this website, there is a WordPress update also available. So if a WordPress update is available, we usually update the WordPress core first, then we update the plugins and themes. So how do we see if our website has a plugin or let's say update available for WordPress or any other things? There are two different ways. You can go to the dashboard here. So if I see, you can see the dashboard. So if you hover over the dashboard, you see there's home and there's updates. So you see the update, and you can also use this icon here. So this is an icon just which represents updates. So you can see one here and also in the dashboard updates. So if I go to the update section here, you'll see that the WordPress website version is 6.72, I believe. Yes, it's 6.72. So this is the current version of WordPress running on this website. But a new website version is available, WordPress 6.8, which was released, I think, on the 15th, 3 days ago. So if you have updates available, so you see WordPress version here, update, you might also see plugins and themes if you have not updated them. So if you see this, then you should update to WordPress. So I'll update it right now. It might take 30 seconds or 40 seconds, but it's important. And that's why I purposefully did not update so I can demonstrate this process to you, right? So let this update. And while this updates, we can also talk about, not talk about, we can cover some additional things as well. So if I switch back, all right, it's already done. So let's go with this first. WordPress 6.8 done. Whenever you see this, that means the update is done. And you see how much time it took, just probably 30 seconds of time. And now we have a completely updated website. It's pretty cool, pretty awesome. And now you can have the best features of WordPress. All right. So let's go back to our slides here. And some additional things I was talking about, you have SSL certificate expiry. What does this mean? So yeah, I'll just try to explain this. I already demonstrated how we check if a website is using SSL, but a lot of times if you have a hosting provider that provides this to you, they might have an expiry. So it might be, hey, this certificate that we're installing in your website is valid for a year, and you might have to manually renew it. And it just might need, hey, going to the site and just clicking a couple of buttons. But a lot of times the hosting providers will inform you of that by sending you emails, or you will get an email from the service provider that is offering the SSL certificate. So it's important to keep an eye out, because if a certificate expires, that means the functionality of your website is broken. And that means Google will kind of punish you that, hey, you're not using SSL. And if you're an e-commerce website, the payment provider might shut you down. So it's important to keep regular eye out on emails on any kind of SSL certificate expiry. That hey, every time that's happening, and usually get a notice in advance, so you can always go back and say, hey, it's 1 month, so let's update it. Right. Next important thing I already mentioned is contact forms, or not contact forms, sorry. Next thing I mentioned was regular backups. I already mentioned how or why backups are important. They're insurance for your site, but you need to set up backups. Now you can do this manually or set it up automatically. Both work. Let me demonstrate how easy it is to take a backup with Duplicator. I'll keep you will be surprised on how quickly you can do it. So since we've installed Duplicator already on our site, I'll just go here inside Duplicator. Let me just search for the menu entry here. Where is Duplicator? Here it is. And inside Duplicator, setting up a backup is so easy. So you have to do this. And if you upgrade to the Pro version, you can schedule them. You can see the schedule backups option. It's a Pro feature. And that means you can set up the schedule once and the backups will have to happen automatically. But even if you don't have the Pro version, in the free version, you can start taking backups manually. I'm going to demonstrate how easy it is to do it. So we go into the backups option and you can see no backups found. And it says click create new to backup site, and create new is the option here. It's here. Let's click on it, and everything is basically click, click, click. Don't have to worry about anything. So you can see here, nothing to do here. Most of the time, nothing to check here, and it only automatically give it a name with a timestamp, so you know exactly what the timestamp is, so that you can remember that hey, this was the backup. Let's click next, and it might take a couple of seconds, and I'll just blur out my email for a second. Right. So it takes a second to test things out that hey, if is everything is good on your website, if everything looks good, that can the backup be done properly? And it's all looks green, then everything is fine. All right. So what we'll do is just click the build button. And once again, I think it'll start building, and I'll remove my email from there. And it doesn't take too much time. Last time I did this, took 90 seconds. So in 90 seconds, you will have a complete backup of your website. So you can see it's already 60% done. And once it's done, I'm going to show you how the backups look like, how to access them, how to download them, and how to use them to back up your site. So once the backup is done, you'll see it's already done. It took just 20 seconds of time. And you have the installer archive might be complicated. So instead of using this entry here, oops, my email again here, instead of showing this here, I'll go to the backup section here once again, which we started with, and explain how to use this. So now you can see the backup is done. This is the size of the backup. This is the name. And you can see two buttons here. You can see two buttons here. And the first installer button, which the first button, which is here, this includes the WordPress files in it. So if let's say you're setting up a new website on a server which does not have WordPress, you can use this installer and the WordPress files will be copied as well. And the second one, which is the backup, right, which is the backup, is here. This one, this does not have the WordPress file. This only has the data of your website. It includes the plugins and themes. So let's say if you installed WordPress on a different server, but it doesn't have the content on your website. So you can use the backup here, download it, upload it there, and then it'll be backed up. So to give you a realistic example, let's say for some reason, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, your website completely crashes, completely goes down, there's nothing on the site. And your hosting provider says, sorry, we messed up or something happened. And they say, hey, we'll install WordPress for you. So they give you a blank site which has WordPress installed. In that case, since WordPress is installed, then you use the backup option. So this backup is now done, but it's on your website. It's like on your website there. So what you can do is you can actually click this button. It will download the backup to your computer. So you can download this, keep it on a computer, be safe. And if you use the Pro version of Duplicator, which I was talking about, it also has cloud backups. So you can say, hey, back up my website once every day, or maybe every 7 days, and then upload it to Google Drive already automatically, or upload it to Amazon S3 automatically, or upload it to Dropbox or any other box storage or cloud storage. So once you set up backup schedules with Duplicator, you can be rest assured. You can be free. Say, hey, I don't have to worry about this. It'll automatically back up my website, upload everything. That's the power of backups, right? So make sure to have regular backups on your site. That's the next step. And we can go back to this option, which is contact forms. Now, what does contact form means? So this is important to understand. Now, I don't mean creating contact forms. I mean checking the inquiries placed by contact forms. Because let's say, for example, if you have a business website, you might have forgotten that if you don't have email alerts set up. So let's say you don't log into your website for 3 days and you might have lots of leads sitting in the backend. trying to get business from you, or sponsors trying to connect with you, or a business associate trying to connect with you. So by logging into your site every day and seeing that, hey, these are the inquiries that are coming up, or these are the things that these are people who are trying to connect with me, it'll help you achieve your business goals with your website. All right. Next up is database maintenance, but I'll take the speed checks first. Right. I'll finish that first. So you should also regularly check your website for speed. So it can be done like every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or once a month. And the benefit of doing that is it allows you to understand if your website has problems, and it allows you to perceive your website as an end user will perceive it. So what you can do is you can do three things, or like two things. You can open your website up from a new device, let's say a smartphone or a different laptop, and you can try different networks. Hey, let's try on Wi-Fi, let's try on 5G network. So you can experience how your website is behaving from an end user perspective. And that'll give you a realistic idea of, oh, that is how my website behaves. This is the experience of the end user. So maybe you understand, hey, maybe I need to work on my website to make it faster. And so this is the first step, which is where you kind of behave like a user would do. The second way to do this is actually use some tools which are designed for this purpose, will give you actionable data. So I'll show two tools here. I'll show two tools here. One is from a website called Is It WP? And you can see free website speed test tool. So you enter the name of the website, you click analyze, and it'll give you all this data about, hey, the load time is this, the page time is this, or page speed is this, page size is this, what's the performance is. And this is the more simpler data, or this like any person can understand that, hey, if a website loads in a second, it's probably good. If it loads in 5 seconds, it's probably not good. So this is very simple for anybody to understand how much time it takes to load the website. This is for the beginners who want to make it easy. But if you are a little pro and you want to get a lot of actionable data, details about understanding how your website is using resources, then GT Metrics is one of the best tools you can use. And you enter it here and you will see different locations, different browsers, unthrottled connections. You have technical data. And if you scroll down, it'll give you all the resource and speed visualization and technical data. So, excuse me, this is the professional or tool of choice for professionals to understand how your website behaves. It's very, very important to understand. So what I'll do is I'll leave links to both of these tools in the chat so you can go check them out, how to use them. All right. So talking about the last option or last maintenance activity that you should do regularly, right? So what is that? It's database maintenance. Now, database maintenance is not something you have to do very often. It might be once every 7, 8 weeks or once every 3 months. But some websites need more than others because depending on the functionality or what kind of resources your website uses, it might have a lot of irrelevant data or that is not useful. For example, let's say you had 500 spam comments and they're all marked by spam, but that's still those comments are still on your website. So they're using space. Similar to that, let's say you use a revisions feature on WordPress. So revisions are, let's say if you make a changes to your WordPress website, it saves a new version of that. So let's say if you updated a post 100 times, that means 100 variations of that page are actually saved on your website. And if you have 100 posts and then all of those posts have been updated 100 times, that's 10,000 variations, which are all sitting on your website. And there's also all sort of other technical junk that accumulates over your website, which you can clean if you maintain your database. So how do we do it? We do it with the help of a simple plugin. So let me demonstrate what the plugin is, how to use it. The plugin is called WP Optimize. I'll go into the plugin section, add and search for it. It's very simple. Again, it's straightforward. It'll give you a few buttons to click. I'll just search for it. WP Optimize. And this is the plugin, WP Optimize, cache, compress images, minify, and clean database. So click and install this plugin. It'll be installed in a minute, a couple of minutes, and then you can use it to maintain your website easily. Right? Let's also activate this plugin. All right. It's already done. Let's close this, and come back here. Right? So these were all the essential things that I wanted to share. Let me also share the link to the free plugin and also a premium version of the plugin, which has more powerful features. So you can go check them out. And as I was mentioning in the beginning of the video, or in the middle of the session that, hey, if you want to learn how to do these things yourself, I want to actually understand how to set up SEO on my website, I have a great free resource for you, which will completely blow your mind how amazing it is. So let me just open that up first on my website or on my computer here, and I'll share my screen once again, and let's open it up and let's do it. All right. So this is W Beginner's video website, which hosts so many different videos from different places. You can see it has WordPress, how to use forms, all the other things. So it has a few different sections that you can check out. If you want to see all the videos that we post on our YouTube channel, also from our website directly, then you can come here and you'll see all the videos being published here. That's pretty amazing. You can see me here on the screen. You have some of my colleagues show up here. So these are the videos, you can see it here. But we also have some free courses on how to use WordPress and how to do essential things with WordPress. And the courses are found right on the website. Oops, not sorry, like this. These are the courses. So you can click here and it'll take you to free courses that you can take on your website, or not our website, on our website, free courses to understand how to use your website and how to operate your website. So you can see here, we have a WordPress 101 course. If you don't understand WordPress completely, you can just take this course for free. How to use WP Forms, which I mentioned, for free. WP Code course, which I mentioned. All-in-one SEO course. Trust Pulse, which is another product. And easy digital downloads. WP Simple Pay, WP Mail SMTP, Raffle Press, Seed Prod, and so many different courses. And these are all available to you all for free. Don't have to pay, just have to sign up. It's completely free. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave the link to this courses section, the courses website, right here in the chat. All right. Right. And since all of you guys have been here, I'd like to share something special with you guys, which is some professional services that we offer as W Beginner. So if all of this sounds overwhelming to you, if all of this sounds that, hey, this is too complicated, or if, hey, I don't have enough time, I have other things to worry about, can I find someone who will do this for me, who will set up my website for me, who will maintain my website for me, or who will the design part of my website for me, or add the plugins or install them, maintain them, then yes, you can use W Beginner's Pro services to take care of all of that. So if you didn't know, W Beginner offers pro services for website maintenance and a lot of the things. I'll just open the page for you guys here. So you can see professional services from W Beginner. And what other services do we provide? We have a website building service. So if you want to build a website with WordPress, you can use our services. We'll help build a website for you. You get a website maintenance service, so we can update plugins, themes, and maintain your site. We also have emergency WordPress support. So if your LSF has run into a problem, then you can do that. Fix a hacked website. So if your website is hacked, we can help secure it and bring it back. We can also help you speed up your site. So if your website is not performing fast, we can help you speed it up. And we can also do have SEO service. So if you're not getting enough traffic and you want professional help from W Beginner to help you get more traffic to your site, we also offer that service as well. And what's the benefit to you guys here? The benefit to you guys is that since you've been part of this entire 2 hour session approximately, then you get 10% off on all W Beginner Pro services. Let me just adjust my camera here a little bit. All right. So you get 10% off on all W Beginner Pro services. So first I'll leave a link here. I'll leave a link here. And this is the pro services. You can go check out the link here. And how do we get the 10% off? That's a great question. You have to use a special coupon code, which is WP Special. WPB Special. I'll also paste the coupon code in the chat. You can use this. The coupon code is valid for at least the next 2 weeks, is valid for at least the next 2 weeks. After that, I'm not sure if the plugin will stay active. So make sure to take advantage of this opportunity. Save 10% off on W Beginners Pro services. And I hope that you really enjoyed this session. We covered a lot of things. If I have to recap, I'll take a second to recap everything that we've learned. Right, I'll just recap. So we talked about the core WordPress settings that we need to configure. So I showed you how to optimize the site title, the tagline, registration settings, who can register and why it's important. We configured the time zone and we configured the reading settings. which is choosing between a static and a dynamic homepage, and also making sure that search engine visibility is turned on, not turned off, so that your website can be found. Then we looked at essential comment settings and how comments can be very, very useful. And we looked at permalink settings, which can make or break your website's traffic. We also looked at user management roles, how to create admin accounts, how to manage admin accounts, manage user roles, manage your profile, change your password, change color themes, everything else. And then essential comment settings to help you moderate comments faster using blacklists. We also looked at SSL certificate and why it's important. And this is the first segment. Then we talked about essential pages, which pages you should have on your site, the home page, about us page, product services page, privacy policy, terms of service, contact page, and how to create pages on your site. And then essential things to cosmetically improve your website. So uploading a logo, setting up menus, setting up headers, setting up footers. And then we talked about essential plugins, which was very, very powerful. And we talked about SEO plugins, which is all in SEO. Talked about security plugins, which is Sukri. SMTP plugin, which is WP Mail SMTP, caching plugins, which was WP Rocket and Lightspeed Cache, backup plugins, which was Duplicator, contact form plugin, which is WP Forms, analytics, which is Monster Insights, image optimization plugin, which was EWWW Image Optimizer, and we talked about privacy law compliance plugins, which was WP Consent, and code management plugin, which was WP Code. Then we talked about maintenance activities which you should do on your website. Very, very powerful. What were the maintenance activities? We talked about having strong passwords, regular updating passwords, regular updates of WordPress, the core plugins and themes, checking for SSL expiries, being proactive about it, conducting regular backups. I also showed you how to create a backup live, uh, creating and making sure you are responding and checking entries for contact forms, checking database maintenance and performing essential maintenance with WP Optimize, and also regular speed checks to ensure that your website's performance is not dipping, and also to experience how end users actually experience your website. So that's the powerful thing that we covered in this entire session. And don't forget, you get 10% off with W Beginners Pro services. Once again, I'll just plug it in, 10% off on W Beginners Pro services. Once again, the code is on the screen, WP Special. And if you have any questions, I'll take a couple of minutes to answer any questions. If you've been watching, thank you so much for spending so much time. It's been almost 2 hours. I've been conducting this session, and it was a pretty powerful session. Hope everybody found some value. Hope everybody enjoyed this. We'll be doing these live sessions more frequently on this channel. So stay tuned, and we'll be promoting them on the YouTube channel on the community tab. So you can be notified that, hey, we're going to conduct this session. And if you have any suggestions for the sessions we should take, we should do this live, make sure to leave a comment on either on this stream or a comment on any of our videos, or we'll do a poll in the community tab so you can answer that hey, this is the specific thing that you're struggling with WordPress and you'd like to learn better, so that we can work and we can conduct a live session on it, right? So I see in the chat there are no questions that are come up here, at least from what I can see. If I missed out on anything, please leave a comment on the chat and I'll check it out. Otherwise, thank you for this wonderful session. It was a lot of fun. It was so much fun explaining all things WordPress. I've been working with WordPress for over a decade now, so it's a lot of fun. All right, so that's it for this session. Hope everybody found some value, and I'll see you in the next session, or I'll find you on a YouTube video that will be publishing very, very soon. All right, so I'm going to end the stream now. If you still have questions, feel free to leave a comment on the stream, and we'll answer all the questions. All right, I'm ending the stream now.